All right, Andy, B. Stefan is next, right? So let's get B. Stefan in here. Stefan, how you doing, brother? Stefan, can you hear me? Dude, Stefan can still not fucking hear me, bro. Like, Andy, you liar. I think Stefan's internet just stops working. Comagen, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. The Newser's writing is definitely a death blow for almost every single character in this game. But we'll see what he does with Dragonflight. I have it on good authority that people have told me that the Newser had nothing to do with the writing of Shadowlands, and that this is really the first time that the Newser is writing anything for World of Warcraft, so we can only judge him on Dragonflight and the future thereof. Moni, I see that you have just joined, so what's up?
Yes, I figured I'd go ahead and ask Stefan's question for him since we're having some difficulties.
Okay.
I think it has to do with the fact that he's on his phone, so maybe that's interfering.
Yeah.
His question is about the Wrathion Anduin bromance that we sort of joked about a little bit in the Livecraft episode. Second shameless plug. Go see it.
I like it.
He says that they seem to balance each other out. Now we have a broken and lost Anduin, and Wrathion is going to be super busy in Dragonflight. Could Anduin still play a role in the upcoming conflict between the dragons, or is he still hesitant to step up? He misses Manduin punching Wrathion and giving him lectures and seeing them arguing back and forth.
So I do think it could, definitely. It all depends on how much Wrathion knows right now. Yeah, so there's definitely a world in which I can imagine Wrathion finds out now that Anduin is still within the Shadowlands and Anduin has not yet returned, and that obviously this will lead to a much more unhinged kind of Wrathion because it is true that Wrathion and Anduin have developed this sort of in the Bible, I can't remember, I think it's David and Nathaniel.
David and Goliath?
No.
Maybe?
David and Nathaniel. I think that was David's best friend was called Nathaniel, and he was apparently one of the only people that could calm David whenever David was really fucking hot under the collar. It's in Afrikaans at least. There's a saying about it, but I can't remember what the saying is. But it basically speaks towards a true friendship. Is a friendship between these two. Between David and I think it's Nathaniel. I could be completely fucking wrong, of course. But yeah, so Anduin and Wrathion does have Jonathan. Swatterfan, thank you. Yes, that's the David and Jonathan. So Jonathan is considered to be David's best friend, and Jonathan is the one that whenever David makes a decision, he will always talk to Jonathan about it first. And Jonathan is Jonathan would actually calm David by playing the harp. So whenever David is angry, Jonathan can play the harp, and this this calms David down. So Wrathion and Anduin plays a very similar role in that Wrathion is incredibly impulsive, but also very fucking slick and sort of untrustworthy, right? Whenever Wrathion tells you something, you have to be careful because he's not telling you the whole truth. Whereas Anduin does seem to be the one person that Wrathion respects. And so we could see a Wrathion that sort of reverts to his old ways very much until such time that Anduin makes a return. So could be, right? It's possible.
Yeah, I'd have to say that that was probably one of my favorite parts of Mist Pandaria, was just the little back and forth arguments that we saw while we were progressing the legendary cloak quest chain between Anduin and Wrathion. Once Anduin finally found his way up to that tavern or inn or whatever the heck it was that he was standing in.
Yeah.
And then it was very interesting to see Wrathion come back in Battle for Azeroth, although I'm a little disappointed that it was towards the very end, and the most interaction we got with him was the cinematic where he gets slugged by Anduin.
Yeah, I mean, it's still one of the greatest cinematics Blizzard have ever made. just to be
Yeah,
clear.
yeah,
That punch
absolutely.
is fucking legendary. But yeah, I don't know what Wrathion looks like without Anduin, because they're clearly very good friends. They clearly really trust one another. So it is going to be an interesting. And by the way, just quickly want to say I did make a mistake there. Swatofan, you are absolutely correct. It was David that would play the harp for King Sol, Jonathan's dad. Yeah, it's been years since I've read the Bible, so forgive me for not knowing all the stories off by heart anymore. But yeah, anyways, I don't know. I don't know what this Wrathion looks like, because Wrathion has also been toying with powers much bigger than himself. Right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, in Mists, he gobbled up the heart of Radon, a Titan Keeper.
Yep.
And then he also, I mean, this was more of just a quest for wisdom and knowledge, but he did beseech the August Celestials as well during that time in Mist. So yeah, he's very much been collecting power and information. And then in Battle for Azeroth, we had that one island expedition where we found that black dragon scale that basically proved he was still looking for the Dragon Isles.
Yeah. So we know he's been on a quest to find the Dragon Isles. You know, he's been toying with N'Zoth, with the old gods. He's been eating Titan Keeper hearts. So clearly this dude is on some kind of mission. There's a slight twist to Wrathion's story that could actually lead to him becoming incredibly unhinged, and that is Wrathion claims that he is the son of Deathwing, but Wrathion's origin story does anything but support that. Because
if anything, it just says that he is a descendant of Deathwing, not a direct son of him.
I mean, the clutch, the eggs that the collection of eggs that he was born from was a random collection. They didn't know specifically that this was Deathwing's eggs. They thought that this could have been like one of the final clutches of Deathwing's eggs, but they had no idea whether or not that's true. So we could find out in this expansion that Wrathion is indeed not a direct descendant of Deathwing, which means Ebonhorn is the last living sort of heir to the throne of the Black Dragonflight. Would Ebonhorn become the Black Dragonflight? The aspect of the Black Dragons? This is a question. Who knows, right? Who knows? Pink Turkey, you are correct. It could also turn out that Wrathion is actually the result of Red Dragonflight experiment, because that is the clutch that he was born from. A clutch that was watched over, according to the Red Dragonflight. They simply tried to cleanse those eggs. That's what they were trying to do, and Wrathion was the only one that survived it. That's their claim. Whether or not true is a whole different story, because it could be that Wrathion is in fact, because remember, it wouldn't be outside the realms of possibility. It was the Red Dragonflight that effectively created the very Lich King that they wanted on the throne with Bolvar. So it could be that they have also now gone ahead and created their own Black Dragon to sit on the throne as an aspect, and this could create a series of troubles within the Black Dragonflight. So there's a lot of sort of bits and pieces of this lore that could create some serious trouble further down the line. How Wrathion is going to deal with this, specifically when Anduin is returning, all of this is sort of up in the air right now, right? We don't know. Is there anything else about this, Morny, or is that it?
I had my own thoughts on it. Like,
yeah, go for it.
I feel like Wrathion is still very much an enigma, that they're still writing him, and they're starting him out as just unknown and a very untrustworthy ally.
Yes.
And while they've obviously shown him to be in Azeroth's best interest, we still have the events like in Mists where he talks about how he backed the Horde or backed the Alliance during certain encounters, like how he was trying to forge a single unified Azeroth. So it's never been A, within the best interest of the peoples of Azeroth, just the planet itself. I mean, the people, if they survive, is a bonus in his mind.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, he always gets something out of it, which is what you pointed out in the last Lovecraft episode. That there's always some aspect to it that he profits from.
Yeah, he does nothing that isn't in his own interest. When he does something, yes, it could have a benefit to Azeroth herself or the people of Azeroth, but it's always more to his own benefit than it is to everyone else's. In fact, more often than not, he's more than happy to fuck over everyone else in order to get what he wants. So he'll give you a little, take a lot away, and then get his way. Which is, you could argue, and I don't know how well that's going to play out for a lot of people, but you could argue that Blizzard is basically building the next big villain for World of Warcraft, sort of Sargeras level villain within Wrathion. Because what happens, just quickly, what happens to a dragon when said dragon consumes power? Like, for example, Radane's heart. What actually happens to that dragon if it becomes aspect?
We don't know. I mean, the only speculation we can make is that he may be unknowingly following in the Primalist dragons, the followers of Galakron, in their footsteps. Like, he could be just trying to usurp power for power's sake, or like I was saying, he could be trying to indirectly or subtly make himself aspect without doing the whole ritual that required the other aspects to be present. So he could be trying to pull a fast one and become an aspect, making it basically his choice and his choice alone, and the other aspects are just screwed out of it.
I mean, it could also, just in a sort of different vein, it could be the future of Galakron 2.0.
Very much so.
What happens? Because as far as I know, I'm trying to remember now, what happened to the Dragon Soul? It was lost, wasn't it?
It was lost. We got it from a timeline when it was being used successfully to bring Sargeras into the world. So we closed and destroyed that timeline.
Yeah.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, after Thrall uses it to beam Deathwing, it's expended. Like, it doesn't have any more power and actually is used up physically as well during that process.
We'll have to wait and see, because there's also the story of Nosdormu becoming Morozond. And
yeah, I really hope we see more of that, because the Infinite and Nozdormu is actually my favorite dragon aspect.
I would say Nalfarian was my favorite, but since he's no longer there, I would agree.
Yeah, I was going with the current crop that we have.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Morozond is, for now, Nosdormu, but Morozond is definitely my favorite as well. But there is a chance, and the reason I bring this up is Wrathion clearly wants power. I mean, consuming a Titan Keeper's heart is gutsy at best. It is risky, because you don't exactly know how much power is within that heart. You don't know exactly what that power is going to do to you. And remember, Galakron became Galakron because he consumed other Proto-Drakes. And I don't know necessarily, I don't think it was because they were other Drakes. I think it was power. The more power Galakron consumed, the more power Galakron wanted to consume, and also the bigger he got. So there is a world in which Nosdormu provides Wrathion with a dragon soul from a different timeline, and Wrathion actually consumes said dragon soul. Now, what does a dragon look like? A black dragon specifically, an aspect of the black dragonflight, with the power of all dragonflights infused into him. This could be...
He looks like basically Deathwing minus the corruption, as far as we know. Like, he would be an unhinged Deathwing able to follow his own agenda instead of the maddening whispers that Deathwing was forced to follow once he became susceptible enough to the old god manipulation.
Yeah, so it is... sorry, yeah, you're right. The Heart of Lei Shen. You are correct. There is a world in which Wrathion becomes the next big bad. Questionable, because Blizzard might not be interested in going down that route, since it will piss a lot of people off that like Wrathion. I would love that, because one of my favorite characters of World of Warcraft is Sargeras. And so Sargeras, being the bad guy, is why I loved him. Wrathion would be the next Sargeras for me. A character that I already love, becoming sort of the character that we have to be very fucking scared of. So, I could 100% get behind that story. Although, I don't know how chat would feel about that. Chat, if Blizzard turned Wrathion into the next big bad, how would you guys feel about it? Would you be happy, sad, or sort of who gives a fuck?
I mean, they kind of gave us a taste of that with Nyalotha. The Nyalotha raid, where there was a vision of the corrupted version that Wrathion would become, and it was basically Deathwing 2.0.
Yeah.
But a little more powerful because he had the... And I know you had corrected yourself about it being the Heart of Lei Shen, but the Heart of Lei Shen was also the Heart of Wrathion, because it happened is...
But if
Lei
you don't...
Shen,
the problem is if you don't spell it out, so technically you have to say Lei Shen ate Radain's heart and then he ate Lei Shen's heart, because if you don't spell it out, you will get pedants in chat that go, actually, that's not how it happened. So for the pedants, you have to spell it out. That's just how it works on YouTube. I don't make the rules, but there will always be a pedant that sort of goes, actually, that's not what happened. So you have to spell it out. But I immediately knew what you said. That's why I just went with he ate the heart of Radain. But yeah, just to keep things from being confusing. And I don't have a problem with it. Pedants actually help me quite often with ensuring that I explain things for everyone to follow, because again, it could be very confusing for someone who doesn't know the lore. If you say he ate the heart of Radain, this person will just believe that that's what happened because they don't actually know the lore. So it is also very helpful. I don't have an actual problem with that. Marvalo Gaming, thanks for the $5. Did really appreciate it. Thank you. Maybe that's why Wrathion wanted to defeat N'Zoth, so he can become powerful like Deathwing, but without corruption. Well,
it's an interesting angle.
Old gods are powerful, and even if he could just consume a slither of the essence of an old god, that would be more than enough to power him quite substantially. So there is, right now, the theory that I have at least is the reason he wanted to end N'Zoth is simply to ensure that what happened to his father doesn't also happen to him, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that Wrathion, personality-wise, I don't think he would ever touch the Void as a source of power.
No.
Just because of how easily it corrupted Deathwing. And it's sort of like just... like that person just said, what if he killed N'Zoth to ensure that if he gets powerful enough, the same thing doesn't happen to him?
Well, there is the world in which he consumes the Dragon Soul first, which infuses him with the power of every single aspect, in which case eating N'Zoth's essence may not corrupt him, because it is only the Black Dragonflight that is susceptible to the corruption of the old gods. The other Dragonflights aren't anywhere near as susceptible to the corruption of an old god. So there is a chain in which he could consume the essence of an old god and not necessarily immediately succumb to corruption, but simply use the power of that. Again, not saying that is what's happening, just saying that is a potential story that could play out if they wanted to do it. Anyways, if there's nothing else to that, Moni, who's next?
I will head back down and consult with Andy on that, but I think it's going to be Gunji would be next.
Okay, cool stuff. Thank you very much, Moni. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem.